Hello? Okay, there we are. Thanks for that. I wasn't muted, but for some reason OBS didn't select the mic, so that's weird. Anyway, hi everyone, welcome on in. Do you see the pumpkin? Fully rigged, glowing, scary, fierce. I was thinking I should add more to the model. You know, maybe by 31st we'll actually have a full outfit. If you just keep chipping away at it. Truth be told, every time I open the live 2D file, I realize just how buggy the thing is. Don't get me wrong, the model looks fine. The live 2D file is a mess. In fact, like there's two layers of the pumpkin here just because things weren't organized correctly. It's a very old model. I made this way before I started streaming. But it shows. But yeah, I still think it's adorable. But the rigging is a bit inefficient. But hi everyone, welcome on in. Hi Ruby, hi Maylene. I should sit like this so I can show off the full pumpkin. Ta-da! Let me just move everything. So cute, thank you. I just got back from the bookstore. Anything interesting? I feel like I go to a bookstore like 1,000 times, but rarely ever buy anything. I got the final two volumes of the My Hero Academia series. Oh, I watched the anime. Never read the manga. The final season is out. And I'm gonna be honest, the previous season felt like a slog. Like I think the last season and the one before kinda dragged on. I found myself losing interest in the show. But the new season came out and I'm like, oh, this is refreshing. It was actually pretty good. And they said it's the final season, which thank God that show. I feel like if the show was half the length, it would have been better. There's a lot of filler and like they stretch out very basic things. Also started my emo phase. Understandable. I went to a hot topic. Is there one here actually? I've net Hot topic is not a thing like wherever I've lived. Hi healer, welcome on in. Hold on. Do they have one? No, they don't. It's okay. I would have been curious. So K-pop Demon Hunters merge, also see WWE merge. Is WWE still around? It's like ancient, isn't it? Huh. I remember seeing it when I was like really young. And I think I had the PlayStation 2 game. K-pop Demon Hunters, surprisingly good movie. I thought it'd be just generic Disney-esque animation movie. But I saw a lot of people like hyping it up online, so I was like, I could give it a watch. And then I saw it, it was beautiful. It is exactly. The soundtrack as well. I'm not a much of a K-pop fan, but I do love the soundtrack. I do have one note. The Saja Boys needed more songs. Like I know they're the villains and they're supposed to only have a couple songs here and there, but if they had like way more music, would have done wonders. For real? Yeah. So sad we got robbed of a lot of lore though. Really? Is there something we missed? Is it based off of something or is it like brand new IP? Yeah, the movie was supposed to be longer. Darn. They should do what they did with like The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Like extended edition, director's cut. Good news, there's a sequel on the way. I'm glad. Netflix is a scaredy cat cowards. All of the time they like to play it safe. But the ones who, they take a leap to do something actually incredible, it pays off every single time. Not every, but you get what I mean. We're baking bread today. For real, they have my wrestling, so we like the merch. It looks so cute. Yeah. Um they want it so that when the model looks to the right, it looks like this, but it looks to the left, it looks like that. Which seems basic, but is a rigging nightmare. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. But yeah, I love the design. It's so cute. I want to take a bite out of it. It's a bread dog. So I guess you could say I loaf it. I love that joke. Wait, hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to look at myself with my eyes closed. Because I updated the model. I'm just trying to check. Is there a bug with like. Oh, yeah, there is. Hmm. There's a bug with the eye bags. That's not good. Anyway, that's like one of my favorite puns. Loaf it. You got eyeshadow now? Yeah. Honestly, maybe I should just do like full goth outfit for Halloween. But yeah, I actually made them larger. Cause it like bends upwards when I smile. I thought it was like a little bit of a small tweak here. But yeah, I accidentally broke something and I didn't realize. Whoopsie. Anyway, that's why when I make mascots and like I finish the commissions, I'm always like, hey, commission is marked as complete, but if you find any bugs or anything, any issues in the rigging in the future, do let me know. Because a lot of the times these things kind of slip through final testing. So yeah, it would really imagine you pay like a lot of money for a model or whatever, and then like 3 months down the line you realize, oh, it's broken and buggy that way. Feels bad. So yeah, I always have that disclaimer. I added in my 2S as well. If I miss any bugs, do say something. It's fixed, 100% free ASAP. But yeah, that's why if you've ever commissioned me, that's why I always have that disclaimer. I even mentioned it like twice, I think, in the whole like process. Like as I'm finishing and as I wrap it up. But yeah, now you know why. It's always the tiniest things. I wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't like done this. You have to close your eyes and then smile. I mean, like how often are you gonna notice a bug in your model only when your eyes are closed? See what I mean? Gotta fix it. Hey, rigging is hard. It's actually not. It's just like a lot of different things. This thing to fix it probably will take 5 minutes. To find it could take a lifetime. But anyway, Low fit jokes, my favorite. I can't unsee it now. And to see what's going on with Just Dance 2026, I see Deadpool dancing. Ah. Is it going to be like the next Fortnite where they have like characters from literally every franchise? Speaking of gothic outfits, there is this one Instagram page. It's basically like a store which sells like how would you say this? Very fantasy gothic esque outfits and cosplays, and I follow them and save a ton of their posts for art inspiration because like the outfits beautiful. Hmm. Also, I tried to cut out coffee a bit in the last week or so. Very unsuccessful. I had a bunch right before stream. The call for caffeine was just too great. I think I need to do like a 1 week no caffeine, you know? In my defense, I needed to make a lot of deadlines. So I may have overconsumed coffee for like the past month or so. But this is, I think, like the second last model that has a deadline this month. So I am back on schedule. I think I tried to like stop drinking as much caffeine. I think like the last few days. I think my heart has forgotten how to beat without it. I was supposed to stream yesterday, but I felt like kind of dizzy and woozy. I think my blood pressure kind of dropped a little bit. So yeah, I mostly just rested, laid in bed. I don't know if it's related to the caffeine, but yeah. Well, I feel like a lot better today. So yeah, here we are. It was a shame. I really wanted to debut like the little pumpkin yesterday. Because we made it the stream before. Hey, that's good though? Yeah. It was just a temporary thing. Hmm. I'm trying to map like how the rigging would work for this one. I'd say one of the downsides of doing art with a mouse and the pen tool is rough sketches aren't really a thing. I've abandoned my peeps too, haven't streamed in a while. That's okay. I'm sure they'll be happy once you return. I think I also have like that little bit of concern, which is like, oh, if I just don't stream after a while, like I'll just hit go live and like no one would want to show up, you know? Apparently that's a very like common concern. I know it's a little irrational, right? But I don't know. The feeling is there. But to be honest, in my experience, I did stop streaming for like 2 weeks ish when I was moving like countries. And there was a dip in viewership, right? Because it kind of maybe broke people's routine, like I was just wasn't around. But after a while, maybe like a few weeks after that, kind of went back to normal. So yeah, I know it's a little irrational, but emotions are the most rational thing anyway. So I heard like other streamers talking about it, where especially some of the larger ones, they feel like they have to always go live, even if it's like maybe they're not feeling well, their health is like a little declining. They feel like they owe it, to people to always show up. Mm, I can understand a little bit unhealthy, but to each their own. I think over time, I have slowly started to get a little bit better at it. Where if I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling well, or like I'm feeling, even if I'm just like super tired, yeah, I'm not even like unwell, I'll be like, I don't think I'll stream today. Because to be fair, I do find that if I'm very low energy, then quality of stream goes down. And then I don't know. I don't think anyone wants to see that anyway. So I find it's better to just like rest, recover, and then come back full of energy. So yeah, I wouldn't stress too much about it. Yeah, right. Maybe. Who knows? Ooh, we do have a new stream marker. So you see the little thing in the top corner. So for a while, right, we were thinking about how to make the process of making clips very efficient. All right. So I was talking with Hotcheck about it. Now, when it comes to making clips, one of the things someone has to do is basically scroll through or just watch the entire VOD and see, like, okay, are there any clippable moments? Or, exciting things or interesting, oh, points of interest is what I'd call them, right? Are there any points of interest that could be turned into a clip? Now, scrolling through an entire VOD, especially if someone streams like once every other day, is a lot of work. And VOD scrubbing is, as it's called, is a full service. So I was wondering like how we could make the process like a lot more efficient. And one of the ideas I had was, what if we have a little marker at the top there? It used to be a GIF of like a dancing skeleton, right? And today I was talking to Hotcheck about it, and I was like, okay, can we automate the process of getting the timestamps of where those markers appear? Because even though those markers are there, someone still has to sit through and like fast forward through the VOD up until they see one, and then they know, okay, there is something here, and then they slow down and check it out. Still takes time. But the idea of, is there a way to automate the process? With the GIF, it ended up being kind of tricky. So instead, we switched to using a single image, have a little bot that goes through the VOD, checks every like minute or so, is that marker there? If yes, takes the timestamp, saves it. So that if someone is hoping to make clips, right? One of us, they can just check the list of timestamps, go to where it is, and go, oh, There's a timestamp at 1 hour 30 minutes. They go there. Maybe it's me yapping about how models work, for example. And there you go. Interesting topic. Could it be turned into a clip? Maybe. If it is, it gets worked on and posted. Saves us the trouble of, scrubbing through a VOD, which is kind of pricey. Hold on, let me see. Let me open VGen right now. Go to the page and type VOD scrubbing. Okay, here is one. One that says not editing anything. This is VOD scrubbing. Basically, oh no, sorry, this is something else. Is it called VOD scrubbing? Cutting and clipping. No, sorry, I may have mixed up the terminology. VOD scrubbing, I think, is shortening the VOD. Like, for example, if you have a 4 hour stream, they kind of cut out the maybe uninteresting moments. But yeah, a lot of them seem to be like 10 to 20 British pounds, like per hour. Yeah, 1 hour, 15 USD. Now, my last VOD, I think, is like 4 hours. So that is 15 times 4. That's $60 per VOD. So it is a bit of an expensive, yeah, a bit of an expensive process. So, if it could be automated, wonderful. See, I don't think VOD scrubbing is the term, but basically crawling through the VODs to see like whatever, if there's a point that could be turned into a clip, yeah. It's more or less the same amount of work. If I had to guess, I'm not too sure because someone has to like sit through the whole thing. And maybe they don't like your content and it becomes a slog. Different tastes and all. Yeah. So I decided at first I was gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna sit through, fast forward through all my VODs, get the timestamps of everything, put it on a list, and then put it with the editors and be like, okay, this is places that could be turned into a clip. I ended up not having time to do even that. So we're like, I need a solution. So yeah, we now have the little VOD marker. Unfortunately, I think the last handful of VODs do have the skeleton, and we need to figure out how to like have the exact same process, but to detect a moving GIF rather than a still image, you know? Usman, yeah, well, the world is all moving towards automation and all that. But yeah, I was just thinking, might make it more efficient. Because, like, at the end of the day, this is always my defense to myself, right? I am more artist than streamer, which means a lot of the time if I had to choose to neglect one, I will neglect streaming 100% of the time, right? Which I feel like I shouldn't do so much, but I try my best. I feel like this could work if it deforms like this. Okay, perfect. Because previously, I don't think I have very clippable moments in the sense that you just do the exclamation clip command and then it automatically makes like I think it automatically makes a clip of the previous 1 minute. I don't think I have moments like that. Instead, like all of the clips have just been basically a bunch of my incoherent rambling edited and shortened into 30 seconds of maybe a coherent conversation or topic. So it's a lot of manual work. But just in case, the exclamation clip command, while it may not exist in the sense that it won't make a clip, if you do that, it does activate like the little marker up there. So it's not just me who can like turn it on. I have a button, right? I used to just manually type it in. I think it's exclamation clip and exclamation topic, whichever. But I just, went on, I think StreamerBot made a hotkey. I'm like, okay, if someone types this or I press the enter key, it pops up. And so far, it seems to be working pretty well. But yeah, I've always been one of those people who lazy is not the word. When given the choice, working smarter, not harder, you know? Okay, this is making me a bit hungry. Hmm. Okay, this could work. The downside to deforming it on the art app is I can only deform it like a flat image. I can't like bend it anymore. Not like Live 2D. But yeah, that's just what we've been working on behind the scenes. So yeah. What other ways could we make it more efficient? Hmm. I think that's about like the most we could do because it automates already so much. I don't think there's anything more we could do. Not unless you can like grab a bot to like do all of the editing. And at that point, it becomes a bit morally wrong, I guess. There was a wait, was it YouTube? One of them wanted to like do like AI shorts. I think we talked about it last time. I think they wanted to do like they would pick like thumbnails and do like a ton of stuff for you. Hold on. What was it again? Mm, they were changing the visuals for sure. Oh yeah, I saw they were messing with the quality of the video as well, trying to enhance it with AI. It gave it like a very uncanny, a little uncanny feel to it. And AI dubbing? Oh, yeah, I saw some channels complaining about it. Which one was it? I forgot which channel I was watching. They made like a complaint about it. Basically, they make like their content in I think like a few other languages, and sometimes it takes a while for them to release their own like professionally dubbed thing. But what they hated was the fact that YouTube would automatically do it with like a uncanny AI voice, and people wouldn't immediately know that it was done by YouTube and not them. So it would end up making their audiences in like other countries feel like, oh, they're being lazy and they're taking like the cheap, easy option in order to get like the thing out like quickly. So yeah, I know that's why some people are complaining about it. It was also dubbing even when the uploader said no. These machines don't know how to listen. This is how it starts. Next thing you know, we're fighting off Skynet in bunkers. I don't think it'll get that far. Sure, the bug was called a feature internally. Yeah. I feel like a lot of the time that happens, it's mostly just people trying to cover their ass, you know? They say like just probably very quickly, like, oh no no, I meant to do that, you know, that kind of energy. And then they tell it to like the people in like sales or marketing who don't realize it's an oopsie. And then they go and start telling everyone, oh, we have this incredible feature that can do this, this, this. I think I've seen like quite a bit of that when I was working in the corporate world, you know? Ugh, the flashbacks. There we go. Sorry, we're actually doing art today. Who would have guessed? This could work. You know what else is scary? What? Me? How so? Elaborate. Explain your answer. I've made an art? That is spooky. Okay. Wanna share? Isn't spooky but looks cool. Okay. Specifically made it for my friend for Halloween. That's nice of you. I'm trying to figure out the lower part of the loaf. Yeah, I'll figure out later. The loaf was baked? Yeah, he looks tasty. Yeah, I guess we could just go ahead with, the hand. This one's a bit of a tricky model, but shouldn't be too bad. So he's also nice. Old one was much worse. What are we talking about? Art thingy? Oh, okay, okay. I was trying to remember which button was to rotate the screen. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Is there a pumpkin that I'm sitting in? Yeah. That I'm drawing? No. I'm drawing this dog. We are being productive today. It's a bit too big. Do you mean the circle? Yeah, this is the head. Hmm. We can make the ears one unbroken line. Ta-da. One loafy boy? Yeah. I think that's okay. I think the ears are too long. Hold on. Are they though? Nah, they're fine. I need to learn not to be a perfectionist. Sorry, I locked in a bit too much. Um, what are we talking about? Does that look better or worse? Nah. That should be okay, right? I don't know if a lot of you guys have been if you scroll through any platform with shorts, the amount of AI stuff is becoming a bit unbearable, especially with the new Sora model. I don't know what is real anymore. I sometimes can't tell. I did see one thing though. A lot of the times, if someone makes things like Disney or Pokemon related, apparently that really really annoys Nintendo and Disney. So, with enough with enough shitposts of those characters from those franchises, maybe something will happen. I think they're already getting into like hot water legally as a result. But yeah, we'll see. Mm, regardless, I think I'll take a bit of time away from the internet. Cut down a bit. Wait for it to all blow over. So my phone is slipping. Hmm. It might be off the internet for a while. I don't think I'll fully be off of it. I'll just avoid platforms where avoiding slop is impossible. Maybe like YouTube Shorts, Reels, etc. I might cut back on those a lot because those ones I actually started to notice like while scrolling through the slop. Sometimes it'll just be generic post, and then you see like they have the banners like in the video, right? Promoting God knows what casino or like online gambling thing. I think it's getting a bit much. I miss the good old days of the internet when people weren't trying to take your money. I don't think the internet was perfect. It just had different problems. And I've been a fan of YouTube Shorts since the one it always recommends are AI dub Reddit stories with Subway Surfer in the background. I hate those. There are some creators who, like the content is properly made. It's very similar thing. It's sifted through by like a human being. It's voiced by a person. They have their own commentary and they actually add to the experience. It makes it entertaining. Unfortunately, they use a lot of the same tags as those slop ones. And they all get jumbled in. I think there's like 2 pages which have like those Reddit stories, that kind of content, which I feel are okay. But the downside to those ones is it invites like a ton of nonsense. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it invites like a ton of nonsense in the form of a low quality AI voice dubbed Reddit slop, you know? It started getting to the point where the moment I hear like an AI generated voice, I kind of get a little bit, I get like the ick, for lack of a better term. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the YouTuber Quiet. His content is a lot of it's very similar. It's, you know, Reddit stories, Twitter posts, that kind of stuff. Basically React content, but it's very entertaining. Another one is, I think, The Click. Basically, what they're trying to do is recreate that, but with zero creativity, as you said, zero effort and no soul whatsoever. Because the stories alone, I don't think are like too interesting, but usually like the takes, the jokes slipped in and added, those basically make up the lifeblood of those channels. But yeah, those are one of the things that I think I want to avoid. YouTube is okay. The recommendations aren't too bad. I do notice there's a bit of a shift. It like kind of leans one way, but I'm like, I can just ignore those. Stick to the ones that I do like. I think we should go back to I think we should go back to the system where you only get shown the stuff like you actively follow rather than stuff that we think you might like this thing. I think we should shy away from that model, you know? Like back when I still used to use Twitter, the dark ages, there's actually an option where you can only select like, you know, you only see content by people you are following, right? Not for you. According to some creators, YouTube is having a creator problem where they aren't enough of them. If you ask me, gun to my head, right? You have to, which is correct. Are there too many creators or not enough on YouTube? Not enough was not the option I would have gone for. Which is why they're showing so many unknowns on the main page. I feel like there's more creators than ever. So how does that work? Is the problem that they aren't enough creators, or is it the fact that people are consuming like way more? Because I think that's the main issue. Even so, I don't think it's justified. My guess is they mean shorts. Oh, do you mean like there's a lot of AI content and not enough human creators? Is that what you mean? Oh, is that what they mean? You know, like I got a bit confused. I thought their problem was, oh, we don't have enough content. We run out of things to show people. Oh, whoops, we have ads. Don't think we'll ever know unless YouTube explicitly comes out and says, and not try to piggyback off large creators to advertise becoming a creator. It's obvious there are ads as they talk about how much YouTube is paying new creators every day. They're paying new creators? Why am I on Twitch then? Guys, I'm jumping ship. Iris, I want to show off the pumpkin. Whoops. But I hear a lot of people talking about how YouTube isn't really monetizable. Like for a lot of the times, right? I see, especially people who are streamers, when they talk about like the revenue from YouTube videos, usually the cost of editing is about as much, if not more, than what the video makes, you know? Welcome back. Hmm. I don't know how profitable YouTube is. I've not seen anything crazy, but okay, you might think it's like you might get the impression that it's very profitable if you see like how much content is being pumped out through like the AI bots and all that stuff. I don't think it makes that much because it's more of like for example, one of those shorts, I think they'll make like all literal pennies, right? But if you have an AI bot that is constantly pumping out more and more and more and more, it does eventually add up to not even crazy amount of money, just something that's worth it, I guess. Trying to add new creators to reduce how much they pay overall by flooding the system. A bit of a weird tactic. I personally would go for quality over quantity if I was the one calling the shots, right? But I think demonetizing AI content is just a way to avoid people from gaming the system, you know? You just have like 3 bots running to create and pump out the content. You don't even know what it's posting. All you do is collect the checks that it generates. So I can understand why they'd, demonetize that. Hmm. Does YouTube have like a patch notes esque kind of Do they have that kind of content? Because Twitch has that. They they basically, I think once a month they kind of sit down, talk about like stuff that's going on in Twitch, their plans, what they're doing, right? But they have to make at least $200 a month to break even with something like Sora. Sora is a monthly subscription, right? If that's the case, they're probably pumping out videos day in and day out, really milking it for like every last penny they can make. I can kind of see it breaking even. I don't know how long it will, because eventually YouTube will catch on and start, they've already started demonetizing them. But then some people will try to like avoid getting caught or detected as AI and pretend that it's human content. So yeah. Think it still limits how many videos you can make in a day? Eventually run out of tokens. Ah, okay, okay. That makes sense. I think ChatGPT was like that at first. I don't know if that's a free version or the paid one. It still is? Ah, okay, okay. Depends on how much you want to pay. Okay, if a lot of people are using it, it probably generates some money, you know? It'd be foolish to assume that it doesn't generate enough, if that makes sense. So you don't get the latest models for a while on free versions? Ah, okay, okay. I guess they have to like incentivize people to, actually pay for it. I did try using it when it like first came out for like, interesting stuff. Like for example, it's like maybe this could help with like D&D adventures, prepping for campaigns and stuff. But then I realized the stuff it spits out is kind of generic and boring. Like morals and ethics aside, I think the quality was just not there. I guess that's why they try to focus on rage bait and misleading thumbnails topics. Oh yeah. I saw something a friend of mine sent me today, right? It was basically this video. It looks like a baby that's about to crawl out of a window. And then like their cat jumped and like kind of stopped it from falling out and stuff. It took me like a full 3 seconds to realize that was not real. Cause I'm like, something felt off, right? Like, why is the window on the floor? Right. But it took me like a few seconds to realize, oh, there's a little Sora watermark hidden in the corner, you know? And I was like, huh. I think most people, right? The ones who use the internet don't know like really the ins and outs of the technology would probably just watch it be like, oh my God, that's so terrible. That poor baby. Right. And then they'll, it gives the video the engagement. Because I think the people who don't realize what's going on is way more than the people who go, oh, this is AI, quickly swipes away. So yeah. I don't know. The internet is cooked at this point. What can we do about it? I think eventually things will work out. But for a time, might be a little bit crazy. I think too many things are commercialized, you know? I hear a lot of stories about people who, like in the younger generations, mostly like school kids. Before, Ryan, how would you say this? Before, everyone had like a lot more ambitions of like what they wanted to be in life. But I feel like as the internet becomes a bigger and bigger thing, I think like a poll was done. I think vast majority of people are like, oh, I want to be either influencer slash streamer rather than anything else. And I was like, that's kind of disturbing. I don't think it's a bad thing to necessarily be a streamer, but I feel like it's the kind of thing that probably not the, how do you say, in terms of like career choices, personally, not what I would go for. It's very unstable. It's like being a pro basketball football player when I grew up. Exactly. Now, I'm not saying everyone who says that is wrong. It's just like the percentage who actually make it are like very small. Even there's top 1% that make a ton of money. Exactly. But to be fair, I don't think I blame them. Because the way that it's marketed is, just, oh, I play games all day and get money and yada yada yada. I feel like a lot of them see that and go, I play games all day and don't make money. You're saying I could get paid for this? Now, what do you mean? You clearly have $1 million and enough to buy a mansion? Yeah, I wish. Honestly, my dream, right? If I had crazy amount of money, what I would do is I would buy one of those like old castles, refurbish it, and live in it. I am artist. We don't have money. Jokes aside, I think I make enough to like, live comfortably off of art. But I feel like I am an exception and I got lucky, not even anything like that, right? First castle with central AC, let's go. I live in the UK now. It's kind of cold here. In fact, I'm wearing a sweater right now. I think like the first 2 decades of my life, I have basically never worn warm clothes. I like very light and loose t-shirts, right? Because I always lived in hot tropical weather. Wearing warm, thick, poofy clothes feels odd to me. Like maybe the first time, if you've ever worn a suit, right? Like the first time you wear it, it feels very bit large and odd. I don't know if anyone else felt that, but yeah, it's kind of like that. I never stop hearing about people in the UK complain about the heat. Maybe it's because you're in the hotter part of the world. Maybe okay. To be fair, the heat wave here in quotes is like everyday weather compared to like what I was used to. But to be fair, okay. When people say it's really hot here, they usually say it's hot by like UK standards and maybe European standards. But there is also some truth to it. How to explain this? Say this is your This is your house, right? Oops. Oh. The thing about the UK is the houses are very insulated. So, if you are in your house, the weather app will tell you the outside temperature is like 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, right? Not too hot, but the houses are super insulated. So, whatever heat is inside, right? Whatever heat is inside is trapped inside. So, it's kind of like an oven, right? You are stuck with this heat bouncing back and not escaping. And as you are a human being who generates heat, this heat just keeps going up and up and up. And if you're like me, who has a gaming PC, who's running VBridger, who's running VTube Studio, Live 2D, all of this software, it starts to heat up. It basically is like an indoor heater. And yeah, outside maybe 25 to 30, but inside could be something like, oops, sorry, stabilizer's on, so it's hard to like type. Inside could be up to like 35, right? And that is like kind of uncomfortable. So yeah, when people in the UK were talking about the heat wave, um, literally outside is nice, cool, brisk weather, but the moment you go inside a house, it is unbearable and it is terrible. To that, like I was, it wasn't even as hot as what my home country was like. I feel like one time in my home country, like when I had gone to visit and I forgot how hot it could be, I was literally just laying down on my bed, fan, full blast, directly on me. My skin was kind of reddish simply because of the heat. And that was like, ugh, it was crazy. It was actually the first time I ever felt like that in my home country, but that was like the worst of the worst. In 2019, I met a bunch of Australians who came to New Zealand. It was 40 plus degrees outside. All New Zealanders were dying, and Australia was like, oh, this is perfect. Yeah. Honestly, crazy. I would never survive 40. Chat, never open your curtains if you have a black carpet. The sun and carpet will turn into a heater and cook you. Oh, yeah. Like dark objects absorb like heat. That's why roads are like crazy hot on like, a sunny day. But weather is wild. But I'm going to be honest. Maybe I say this simply because, excuse me, maybe I say this because I've never truly experienced the cold and winter. But I think I prefer the cold. If it's a hot day, escaping the heat is a lot harder, you know, because you can get like a fan and AC, but those are, kind of limited to whatever room you're in. But I feel like in cold weather, you can just put on a sweater, gloves, thumbs up, you're all good. We will revisit this when it is actually winter and I experience it for the first time. I'll give you guys my notes. Yeah, even in a not hot day, if there's no clouds, the road will get hot and even melt. It sounds like a very hot day to me. It's okay. I moved here. I'm done with the heat forever. When it's cold, you can always add layers of clothes, but if you're hot, you have legal issues with removing certain layers. That is true. But even if you're inside, unless you can like remove your skin, I don't think yeah. Because I would do that sometimes, I'm just there, a very little clothing, still be melting. You know what I did? I actually at home we my during like COVID and stuff. My parents bought this huge freezer, just to like keep food because going outside wasn't really a thing anymore. So what I did was I filled it with plastic bottles filled with water, and basically make a ton of ice. Now, hold on, let me draw it out. So what I would do, right? This is my invention. What I do is I would have. Sorry about that. Sorry. What I would do is I bought a cooler box. You know the ones for like picnics and stuff. I was just not drawing. Oh, whoops. Yeah, I would have a cooler box, and I would fill it with plastic bottles of water. Oh, this is too thick. I'd fill it with plastic bottles of water, drinks, whatever, and they're like frozen solid. Let me just copy paste this. Frozen bottles of water. And then I would fill it with, like some tap water up to about like here. And what I did was I later added a little tube that would go out. This is little me. Hold on. I need to be sitting for this. I'd be sitting at my desk. I would have these tubes of water basically bundle up here. And it connects to like this very small pump. A really tiny thing, fits in your palm. And it would basically be pumping the ice water to me. I feel the cold air of, like cold. Ever touch like a cold bottle of water, press it against you when it's hot weather. Yeah, it's basically that. Would cool me down, then it'll leach the heat away from me, go back into the ice box, which by the way is sealed. This is closed. I had to like cut holes in the top and seal it with hot glue. And yeah, I was basically water cooled for my entire visit at home, visiting my parents. Oh, sorry, I'm blocking the way. Right? And it was beautiful. The one downside, I could not solve the condensation issue. And I ended up being completely wet. But I would rather be soaking wet and feeling cool than dying of heat stroke. So yeah, that was my little invention. The things you do to remain cold. New Zealand weather is bullcrap nowadays. It was sub-zero in the middle of summer one time. Uh, I don't think that's what summer is. What is New Zealand like? I don't think I know anything about it. You need a zero humidity room to stop condensation. I lived by the coast. Zero humidity is not an option. Yeah, exactly. Besides, like, all the buildings are designed to be very open and like promote airflow through like the rooms and buildings and everything. So it's kind of hard to like seal yourself in. And even if you did, it'll get really hot really quickly. Anyway, the condensation wasn't much of an issue because sure, I'd get wet, but the weather was so hot that if I just like put the thing aside, I would be dry in minutes. It is the kind of weather where you take a cold shower, by the time you step out of the bathroom, you're already sweating. Another way to prevent condensation is airflow. Lots of airflow. But at the same time, it would it would cause the tubes to heat up more quickly, and I need either more ice or I would need to replace it. Already my mom was scolding me for like filling up the freezer. So I don't think I could have like put more bottles. Cuz if I take it out at the beginning of the day and I go to like my little room, cover myself in the coils, and usually by evening time most of the ice had melted. Usually the ones on top melt faster, right? Cuz it's on the surface. And as they melt, I just take the bottles of water. I fill it with drinking water, um, so that I have a nice cold drink throughout the day. Good morning, Audie and Chad. How's everyone's day been going so far? Just popping in to say hi. Hello, welcome on in. We are talking about hot weather and basically just weather in general. The most interesting of topics. And talking about, how we beat the weather. I built a human water cooling system. It's very inspired by how astronauts in space, they keep themselves cool. They actually have like coils of, I don't know what fluid it is. It basically keeps them at a comfortable temperature. Because in space, half of you is freezing, the other half is boiling, essentially. Because space is weird. Lovely weather we're having here. We actually talk about terrible weather. The UK heat wave, New Zealand having sub-zero weather in the summer, my home country's terrible weather. In fact, I find it terrible, but apparently, tourists are like, wow, exotic tropical weather. This is nice. And then they sit in the sun with a UV index of like 12. They cook and turn into lobsters. They suffer heat stroke and have to be told by people, hey, this is not a tropical disease. You are just overheating. Sit in the shade, have some ice cold drinks. They are actually signs like that at like tourist destinations. A lot of signs like on the beach, they're just posted on like trees and stuff like that. You see them everywhere. They're like, hey, do you have headaches? You feel this, you feel that. That is not a tropical disease. These are symptoms of heat stroke. Please find shade immediately. So yeah, we actually have to like tell a lot of European tourists like, hey, this is what hot weather is like, and you need to be prepared for it. Also, my eye bags are broken. If I close my eyes and smile, they move above my eyes, so I have like high eye shadow. Honestly, not hating it, but they're supposed to be eye bags. But yeah, that's basically it. Eye bags to eye balloons, yeah. Usually, I avoid making tweaks to my model lately, simply because every time I adjust a model, I have to make a new version. And every time I have a new version, I have to go and mix it up and go, okay, for the dice roll, if D1, go to this model, this hotkey. Perfect. Next toggle. Uh, D2. So yeah, I basically have to do it like 20 times, reset all of the animations. It's not tough, it's just tedious. And I was like, it's a hassle. So unless it's like a big change I want to make, I tend not to do it. So what I did was I was like, oh, okay, since I am adding the little jack-o'-lantern, the pumpkin for the model, might as well adjust this while I'm here. But I didn't test it for bugs, and yeah, now it's broken. I'll try fix it later. You know what? Let me put it on my to-do list because I'll definitely forget. Things for or you to do. Fix eye bags. Okay, there we are. What else were we talking about today? Ooh, earlier we were talking about automating. Okay, so To make clips is a lot of work, somewhat tedious. Um, I have people who make clips for me, mainly hot check. So usually, before what we had was sometimes during streams, there'd be like an Excel sheet, like, oh, is at this timestamp we talked about this topic, and then if it's interesting enough, could be turned into a short. It gets, Archak gets to work at it. He modifies it, tweaks it, clips it, cuts it down, makes it really good quality edit, right? Perfect. The downside is sometimes we don't have the timestamps. My solution was we make a VOD marker. Uh, this one is just for demonstration purposes. You see this one at the little top here. So, for example, if we talk about a topic, right, which I'm like, okay, this could be turned into a short of me, just yapping. I push a button, the marker appears, and now what we want to do is feed this VOD into a program that Hotshag made, which checks every minute or so if this marker is there, and then it spits out the timestamp. So literally, no one has to sit through the VOD and watch it and go like, oh, okay, here's a moment, could this be turned into a clip, and basically slog through the entire thing checking for stuff. It's a lot of work. I don't feel nice ever asking anyone to do that. I don't have the money to pay someone to do that, and didn't have the time to do it myself. So the idea we had was we just make this, feed it through a program which can detect this, which I think Hotcheck made. And he actually has a bot, right? Doesn't Twitch have stream markers already? It does, but the problem is the markers are on the Twitch VOD, and the Twitch VOD only lasts a short time. Whereas I wanted a marker that could be detected on a YouTube VOD or MP4 file rather than on Twitch, if that makes sense. Because, for example, we have an Excel sheet of all these timestamps and moments. Now, will they all be turned into clips immediately or in order? Probably not. But for example, like, maybe you should make a clip so we have like time to do it. What could we make a clip out of? Open the Excel file, see the timestamps. Okay, this is from a VOD that was like a month ago. If you go to Twitch and check the markers there, the VOD would have evaporated into the abyss. But I do post all of the VODs on YouTube, and they're there permanently. So, yeah. It was a bit of a trade off because YouTube has permanent VODs, but you can't translate the stream markers. Like, they're good if you make them immediately, but that isn't always the case. So, yeah, I needed another solution. Makes sense, yeah. Because again, I don't think I can say I am new to streaming. But yeah, we're figuring things out as we go along. And it's always how can we make this easier for people? So instead of having someone dedicate like an hour or two of their day slogging through like a 4 hour VOD, if they're watching it at time to speed, just automate the process, get the timestamp, and then the only thing that's needed is jump to the timestamp, check out what was going on. Oh, this timestamp, this topic, add it to the sheet if it's interesting. And yeah. Because if I had to manually do everything, what I would do is I feel kind of, how would you say this? I mentioned it before. I'm mainly artist, not streamer. And if push comes to shove and I only have time for one, I feel like I will neglect stream each and every time. And I don't mean like not showing up for stream or canceling. I mainly mean things like making sure there's clips and new content and this and that. Because that is also like quite a bit of work. So yeah, I don't want to neglect it. So instead of putting more time into it. I'm like, how could we make the process more efficient so less time is needed to make it good? I got Pixie has her head on my head right now above my heart. So I'm seeing her head slightly moving because of my heartbeat. Oh, it's so cute. My cat Julian, she has become a snuggle bug. Orca says, I finished it. So peak art. Ah, congratulations. I know it's a euphoric feeling to, finish art. Like it's sometimes stressful in the process, like this is bad. Oh, is this correct? What is wrong with this one? But once it's done, you look at it and go like, yeah. Hi Goldie, welcome on in. Hold on. I want to show pictures of my cat Julian. I don't think I put these on the Discord though. Hold on. A friend of mine, what she was doing, she wanted like lots of pictures of Julian so that when she posts like on Instagram and stuff, she makes memes out of my cat. So I was like, okay, so when can I start to expect royalties? Anyway, here she is hugging my leg. You see, like underneath the blanket is my leg. She's basically like spooning my leg, and she's so cute. She's so adorable. Guys, this is my cat. This is Julian. If she had one wish, she would attach herself to me surgically so that I would never leave her. I'm not even kidding. If I go down to my desk, she follows me, jumps onto my lap, and sleeps. If she like moves to get water or something, and I go back up to my bed, because I have a bunk bed, if you haven't noticed. If I go up to my bunk bed, literally zero point 0.5 seconds later, she's already climbing after me so she can sit on me. It's I would even say it's a good problem to have. It's not a problem. The one downside, I feel guilty every time I need to go. Hmm. Here's another one. Literally, whatever position I'm in, she just like sits. I was laying on my side, leg a bit curled, and she's like, "Ooh, this is a comfy spot," and just like plops in. And now I have to hold this position until she moves because I'm in cat jail. That's adorable. It is. My cat Ash will actually hug your arm if he's on his back. You start petting his head, he'll use his arm to hug your arm and pull it in. Oh, yeah. That's what she does. Anyway, this has become my cat showcase stream. Mm, here's another one. This is basically what I wake up to every day. She just like sits on top of me and just stares. And she starts purring. She's so cute. Sometimes if I don't wake up, like if I'm awake, but I'm just laying there, and she's like, "Oh, he normally wakes up at this time, but he hasn't woken up yet." She'll literally just get up, come to my face, and start like poking at me. And it's not even like one of those memes of like, oh, the cats are waking you because they want food. She has an open bowl. She has water. Her litter box is always like ready. She doesn't want anything like, you know, other than just like attention maybe. And she's so cute. Look at her. This is my cat. There's one of Wally that I wanted to show, but I can't because, one of them shows like outside where I live, and the other one has like my arm in it, which I've not edited out. So this is her snuggling on me again. This is my baby. Anyway, in case you haven't noticed, I like cats. Maybe someone missed them. Just making sure. Because he sleeps in my blankets more often than not. And as you know, last night he was laying on my foot, so my foot was under the blankets. It's a literal heater. Oh. My bed has like three different blankets, and somehow this tiny creature has managed to steal all of them. She, not he, my bad. Oh, I misgendered my own cat. Classic feather moment. That should be clipped and sent to him. No, not you, it was me. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes, uh, now I'm the kind of person. This is something about me. I am very forgetful with names. So what I do is I usually just hear other people mention it enough times, and then it solidifies in my memory. Right? I'll hear other people call them by their name like 10, 15 times, and then it'll stick into my memory. Uh, Sometimes Feather misgenders people a lot accidentally, and I get confused. Which is not like, it's just it's an honest mistake or whatever. But yeah, sometimes it messes with me. Whoever sends that to Feather, I will pour melted chocolate on your grave. I don't know if that is a threat or a reward, to be honest. A threat? Okay. Because I do see it in movies, like sometimes someone pours like a drink on someone's grave and, as a way of honoring them. So I wasn't sure. Okay, perfect. I think the eyes are too big, but it's okay. We're not narcs here. He'll never know. Okay, weird thing I want for my grave. I want casket to be airtight and for it to be filled with honey because honey has antibacterial properties. So my body will be preserved for thousands of years. Unless it attracts insects. But I guess that's what the airtight casket is for. Okay, if you do that, you would probably need to have the honey pumped into you as well. Because, sure, from the outside, bacteria can get in, but your body, especially your stomach and intestines, are full of bacteria, which the only reason are not eating you is because you're still alive. The moment you die, that changes, and they start consuming you from the inside. That's why you see, like in movies and stuff, when corpses are left unattended for a while, they get all bloated because all of the bacteria inside starts digesting you, and that starts creating gas. So usually what the Egyptians did is before they wrapped the mummy and all of that stuff, they would dunk the whole body in like salt so it completely dries out. It's gonna be messed up, someone using a hose to fill me with honey. I feel like if they just dehydrate you, you'll be a bit mummified. Could work. Because that's what they used to do with the mummies. They basically dunk them in a bathtub of salt, leave them for, I think, days or weeks. And then once they're completely bone dry, that's when they like take them out, start wrapping them, doing the whole oil and everything. So yeah, I'm just saying, proper research is needed. or cryogenically frozen, buried in the Arctic. Just throwing that idea out there. And next stream, we'll just start discussing how to get rid of a body instead of preserving it. The more you know. Yeah, they literally pickled the mummy. People pickle food for a reason, to stop the bacteria from eating it. Ooh, if you don't want to dry out, like in quotes, pickle juice. That's the way to go. I don't know if it lasts indefinitely. Wouldn't be allowed to get buried in the Arctic. You're not even allowed to leave your piss there, let alone a body. See, you are limited by things known as the law. But yeah, I didn't know that. You're not even allowed to pee in the Arctic? I don't believe that. Illegal to pee in the Arctic. Let's start with urine. In Antarctica, you can't pee wherever you like due to environmental protection laws. That is crazy. Can only pee or dump our pee in designated areas marked with a P flag. Coordinates of the P flag are logged in a database. Huh. Interesting. Sorry, I'm reading about pee. You're allowed to pee, just needs to be stored and brought back to the mainland. Because to be fair, I think like in the Arctic, since there's a lot of permafrost, a lot of fossil, not even fossil, just frozen bacteria and stuff from way back when is kind of locked in there. So they don't want some random person just like peeing everywhere and contaminating things. So it makes sense. Good thing you said the law, because if you said moral convention, I have to stop you because I want my dead body filled with honey. To be fair, I don't see anything morally wrong with that. Because, like, that's you. That's your meat suit. You do what you want. I see. I see no problem with that. Welcome to my stream, everyone, where we talk about everything other than actually doing art. Okay, in my defense, we have made quite a bit of progress with this one, so I feel like this is too straight. It should be fine. Okay, perfect. Trans will grow my boobs in the future, and my cat Pixie loves sitting on my chest, so Pixie's gonna view my boobs at the same time. The same way I view anti-homeless benches. Honestly, poor Pixie. It might make it more comfortable for the cat, actually. You know, soft, pillowy. It might hurt for you, though. Guess we'll see. Yeah. Keep us posted. Mm, well, thanks for the lurk. Um, I don't know if the eyes are too big. I'm still laughing about the how I view anti-homeless benches. That cracked me up. Speaking of cats, Wally is still on house arrest. He ran away the other day, got stuck in a tree, needed rescuing. So yeah, I don't trust him to leave the house now. I want to get him like one of those like those cat GPSs, but those cost money. So I'm like, let me save up first. My room has started to get a little bit warm. I was checking if they turned on the heater. Apparently not. I think it's just my PC. This battle station. It basically it works like a good heater. You know, to be fair, if I'm like, the room is a bit chilly, I literally just run Helldivers. The room warms up super quickly. In fact, when it was summer and there was like that whole British heat wave thing, my PC would actually overheat if I played Helldivers. So yeah, I had to like put the game aside for a while. I think that's cuter. I do need to oops. I do need to remember the lower loaf. Mm. I do also want to give it this kind of bread texture. Yeah, the one over here. But I am kind of tired though. Hmm. Do we switch to Minecraft? Um. Nah, it's okay. We'll try be productive, cat, today. I should remember the highlights. Yeah. Hmm. This should be fine. But this is a bit of a hmm. The model may be a bit tricky to rig. And I want to make sure that the art is set up correctly. So I think I might leave this for tomorrow when my brain is fresh. Yeah. Might call it a day today then. Okay. Mm, we can raid Hot Shack. He's not normally streaming when I'm live. But yeah, we'll raid into him. Okay. Ads coming. Yeah, it's okay. So, thanks everyone for stopping by. I hope you had a great time. I know I did. And yeah, bye bye.